Hey, first graders, now that we have gotten really good at addition and subtraction, we are going to apply those strategies and techniques we have learned um, in adding and subtracting with even bigger numbers. And so to be able to do that, we need to make sure we really understand those bigger numbers. And we've talked about it some before that like 17 means a group of 10 and 7 more and things like that. And so we're going to use that information and work to continue to find patterns with greater numbers and have more understanding of those bigger numbers. So we are on to chapter 6. This is starting a new unit. We're into the new book. So we finished off our first book and we're going to start into the second book for math. Okay, so we are going to work out of your book here or out of the first little packets that you have from your second book. We're starting here with Around the Neighborhood, and we're going to do this introduction to the unit on number and operations in base 10, which is the type of counting system we use. Every time we make a group of 10 of something, we create a new place value. Okay, so we go from 0 up to 9, and then as soon as we make 10, it creates something new. And that happens when we get 10 tens, we create 100. When we get 10 hundreds, we create 1,000, and that just keeps going. Okay, so that will help us to understand some of the things that we are going to be working on. So if you will get out these pages, starting here with Around the Neighborhood, we're going to just practice some of the skills that we've already had and do our introduction to chapter 6 as well, so that we are ready to start. Okay, so once you get this, you can open it up to the first couple of pages. It looks like this. Okay, so this is where we are starting. Okay, so we're going to use the pictures here to write number sentences. The mail carrier brings letters to Mr. and Mrs. Jones. How many letters does she bring? So we can look here. Mr. Jones has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And Mrs. Jones, so we are adding because we're putting their numbers together, and Mrs. Jones has 4. Good. So we have 5 plus 4. How many letters did she bring? 9. Good. And think, how do mail carriers help us? They do a lot of delivering, don't they? Make sure we get information that we need, packages we need, all sorts of things. Okay, next we have the mail carrier brings packages to the fire station. Then she brings more packages. How many packages does she bring? Okay, so in the first group that she brought, the fireman already has them here. How many does she have there? 5, good. And she brings more, so we're going to add how many? 5 more. 5 plus 5, we have a total of 10 packages. Those double stacks. Okay, and how do firefighters help us? I mean, we usually think about them just fighting fires, but they do more than that, don't they? Yeah, they also can climb up high and get things. Sometimes they help with like gas leaks. I think one thing people like to think about is firefighters getting cats out of the tree. Okay, so we are going to move on. We'll see another example of how they help us, or community workers help us. Okay, so here we go. It is time for lunch. The mail carrier eats in the park. How many boys and girls are playing? So we have boys and girls. So we're going to add boys and girls. So first let's look for the boys. Okay, as that's how many are playing. So I'm not going to count the dad and the little boy in the stroller because they're just walking around, right? They're not playing right now. Okay, but I can see on the playground, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boys, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 girls. 5 plus 6, how many kids are playing on the playground? 11, good job. Okay. Next, the mail carrier brings 12 packages to the station, to the police station. This person has moved, says the police officer. You need to take these back. How many packages does the officer keep? Okay, so how many came? We had 12 come. And then how many is the mail carrier taking back? 3. So if she's taking those back, are they staying with the police officer? No, we are taking them away. So we're going to use subtraction here. Okay, so how many are going to stay with the police officer? 12 minus 3. 9. Good job. Okay. So over here, oh, I skipped the question at the bottom on the first picture over at the playground. It says, how do parents help us? See a picture of a dad helping his little boy here. So think about ways parents can help us. And then over here, how do police officers help us? Can you think of different ways that both of those groups of adults help us? Okay, let's turn the page. Now we have this one. It says, the mail carrier stops at City Hall. She brings 8 letters for the mayor. She brings 4 letters for the city clerk. How many letters does she bring? Okay, so first she brought 8, good. And how many more? 4. So if she's bringing more, are we adding or subtracting? We are adding, good. So 8 plus 4, how many letters is that all together? Look, think, speak. 12, good job. Okay, and how do city workers help us? Why do we have a mayor and a city clerk? Do you know what kind of things they help us with? Think about that. Talk about it with your family too. Okay, so over here we have right about the story. One day, Mr. and Mrs. Jones each got the same number of letters. They got 12 letters in all. Okay, so we need to get to 12. We need to keep them balanced. So if we're going to keep them balanced, every time we give Mr. Jones a letter, we're going to give one to Mrs. Jones as well. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we got up to our 12 letters. How many did each get? 6, right. Okay, so we had 6 for Mr. Jones and 6 for Mrs. Jones, and that makes 12 letters in all. You might have thought of that more quickly if you realized that we had a doubles fact where the sum was 12. Okay, so if you know those doubles facts, then you know how to split a number into 2 equal parts. Okay. So describe your number sentence using a vocabulary word. So we could say here that doubles, we use doubles to find 12. Okay. Or if you have a different idea, you can write that down as well. And then we have here on the back of that, it says how many letters. So we can look at the group of letters each of these individuals got. And we can use that to write some number sentences. So number 1 says, how many letters do this man and the police officer have in all? So let's look at this man first. Look, think, speak. 5. Good job. Okay. And means we're going to add the police officer. How many does he have? Look, think, speak. 7. Good. So in all, we're putting them together. 5 plus 7. Look, think, speak. 12. Okay. How many more letters does she have than the fireman? So if we're comparing more than, and we already know how many she has, and we know how many he has, and so we're just comparing those two numbers, we are going to use subtraction. Okay, so we're looking at her first. How many does she have? Look, think, speak. 10, good. And we're going to use subtraction to see how many different our two numbers are. So the fireman, how many does he have? Look, think, speak. 4. Okay. And if we subtract 10 minus 4, what is the difference between those numbers? 6. Good. Okay, looking here, it says circle the two that have 11 letters in all. So we have 7, 4, 5, and 10. Which of those numbers work together to make 11? 7 and 4. Okay, one of the ways to make 11 is 7 plus 4. Okay, so now that we've done that, we are going to look at chapter 6, the introduction, and just get our minds going for what we're going to be doing in this chapter. A lot of this chapter is going to be about counting. So that's what we're going to focus on right now. We're just going to do a little bit of counting. This will go really quick. Okay, so number 1, look at the pairs, count how many, and circle the number, 6 or 7. You'll want to have a cren so we can go back and check our work at the end. Number 2, again, circle with pencil. How many apples are there? 8 or 9? Number 3 and number 4, first it says to circle groups of 10. So when you find a group of 10, put them all together. And then write how many bears there are in all on the little line. Okay. Number 5 and number 6, draw to show a group of 10 in 2 different ways. So show me 2 different ways to add up to 10. Okay, pause if you need more time. And then let's switch to our crayon and come back and check. So number 1, how many pairs are there? There are 7. Okay, so if you have a 7, go ahead and give yourself a star. If you did not mark 7, then mark it now with your crayon. Okay, number 2, how many apples are there? The answer was 8. So if you had 8 circled, give yourself a star. Otherwise, circle it now with your crayon. Okay, number 3, you might have found 10 in a different place, but I see 10 right there, and 5 extras. So I have a group of 10 and 5 more, or 15. Okay, so if you got 15, give yourself a star. And on number 4, I see a group of 10 here, and I see a group of 10 here, which means I have 2 groups of 10 and nothing left over, which is 20. So if you got 20 as your number, give yourself a star. Okay, and then number 5 and number 6, there are lots of ways to make 10. So if you can double check and make sure that you really do have 10 for both 5 and 6, then you get that star as well, okay? But always double check your work, okay? And then over here on the second page with the vocabulary, it says we have the number 2. So just draw a quick picture of 2 items. I'm just going to do 2 circles. Okay, then we have 9. So let's draw a quick picture of a group of 9. I'm going to think about it like a 10 frame. So I'm going to put 5 across the top and then 4 across the bottom. So it's 1 spot away from filling a 10 frame. And then for the number 5, a quick picture there as well. And if you want to do like hearts or triangles or flowers, okay, just something quick to show that you understand that number. So if you need to pause and finish drawing those numbers, you may do that. Okay. And then we are going to look at the crayons down here on number 1, 2, and 3. Just do a quick count of how many there are and write the number word. Okay, so we want to write the number word. So number 1, how many red crayons are there? There are 10, so we want to write the number word, T-E-N. Okay, number 2, how many yellow crayons are there? 4, so we want to write the number word. And all of the number words are up here in the yellow box. 4 is F-O-U-R. And then how many blue crayons are there? 6. How do we write 6? S-I-X. And there we go. Okay. So the rest of the pages that we have on today, we have, so after those review pages, we have here, we have a little game. Let me open this up so you guys can see both of them. Okay, we have this little game, the vocabulary words, the back of the vocabulary cards, and then another game with a little game board, and always a writing challenge that you can do to go along with it as well. And then we are going to jump into lesson 1, which is just counting by ones. So go ahead and do that on your GoMath and you should be good to go. And I hope that we have everything that we need. Okay, happy learning.